from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're hearing this in the future. I'm still 2024, Scoots. You're 2025. If you're new to Sleep With Me or you're a regular listener, this is a surprise. We didn't even announce it, but we're going to try to put out an extra episode from the vault. Ideally, Get to Sleep With Me being 3 times a week, 2 new episodes and an episode from the vault, because I know people are going to be really leaning on this show in 2025. I've heard from a lot of people. So this is something new we're doing. We're trying to get back to 3 episodes a week, 2 new episodes and 1 episode from the vault. And this is a vault episode. So it's a little bit different style. We've remastered and re-edited them, but they're still going to be a little bit looser, a little bit different style. But that's good because it gives you more choice in 2025 of Sleep With Me and more variety. So I can help you because I make the podcast that puts you to sleep, right? The podcast that ideally eases your suffering in the deep, dark night, or however you want to define it, the next day if you can't get the sleep you need. And we do all that together. So I'd love for you to be a part of this. I'd love to do this long into the future, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, and beyond. But we do it together. So yeah, if you want to be a part of that, you'll hear me ask into the ways you could be a part of it. But it's supporting the show, supporting the sponsors, and spreading the word. It's really simple. So yeah, here's another episode. And let me know what you think of this idea of more Sleep With Me in 2025. Because you could actually now listen to Sleep With Me 5 nights a week. 3 episodes in the Sleep With Me feed and 2 episodes a week in the Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me feed. So thanks so much. And what do you say? And here's a couple ways we're able to do it for you. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. All right, buddy, you've heard me talk about my bed. I have the Helix Dusk Luxe. I absolutely love it. And I love working with Helix. We've been working for Helix year after year after year. I sleep in a Helix bed every night. I absolutely love it. I'm comfortable. But it's a bed fit for me and how I sleep. Helix isn't going to just sell you one mattress. They're going to sell you a mattress that fits you, your sleep needs, how you sleep, your feel preferences, what's going to make you comfortable so you can have a great night's sleep. And everybody starts off with these resolutions in the new year. But think about it. You sleep in your mattress, your bed every single night. And here's something you could do in the new year. Get yourself a brand new mattress that fits your needs. And you know you're going to follow through on it because you're going to get in that bed every single night and you're going to be comfortable. And all you need to do to kick your new year off with some great sleep is to take that quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep. But when I took it, I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to get overheated. And I got matched with the Helix. I picked the Helix Dusk Luxe. So start your new year off right. Get yourself a new bed. It's going to last you into 2025 and beyond. It's going to come straight to your door, shipped in a box, free of charge. And this is a commitment that's easy to follow through on because you're going to be getting in that bed and getting cozy night after night. And here's all you need to do. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 25% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with mattress purchase. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 25% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with mattress purchase. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey everybody, this is Scoots. This is where I talk about our membership program. The best way to support your ongoing enjoyment of Sleep With Me is to support it. Not only do you get amazing benefits like podcasts with just ad-free episodes, podcasts with just story-only episodes, podcasts with bonus episodes. It is, in 2025, what enables us to keep making the show. But I have not been successful, for the past few months in encouraging people to sign up with my way I've been asking. So it's time to do it differently. So now I'm just going to use testimonials right from a listener and see if you identify with what this listener says. This is Jen from the Seattle area who's been listening to Sleep With Me since 2016. And Jen was dealing with some medical stuff in 2016 in October. And when I got home, I was having a ton of trouble sleeping for various reasons. And I asked on social media, and someone suggested the podcast. I tried it out a few times and couldn't make it past the intro in a good way. I went right to sleep. And because the show helped me out with so much with my sleep issues, I wanted to give something back to return the support I felt from listening. And I would say, think about if the show has really helped you. The show has been a miracle worker for me personally and is often the only thing that can settle my brain down and get me to sleep. If you're anything like me, the podcast helps you get valuable and important sleep. If you find value in having the show available and it's been helpful to you, I heartily encourage you to give back to the show. It gets lots of bonus material and great stuff like all intro episodes. I spent years struggling with insomnia and being unable to sleep, and the fact that I can go to bed now and I know that I'll be probably able to sleep through the night. It's priceless. So if Sleep With Me is priceless to you, think about supporting it back so we can be here for you and a lot of other people. If anything that Jen said you identify with, you could even do it and cancel. Try out a free trial first. Get that bonus content all set up in a podcast app and see what you think. That's at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bart. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bart. Don't forget, if you're looking for access to Sleep With Me Plus, to access to ad-free episodes, but you're not in a financial position to support the show, you can earn those for free by referring people to free podcasts at our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. If you're like, yeah, I can't afford to support the show, but I really want some of that sweet, sweet bonus content on Sleep With Me Plus, sign up for our referral program and send me an email. Thanks, everybody. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble falling asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. We're going to do the rest. And what is the rest? Well, what I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's been keeping you up at night, whether it's racing brain, stuff you've been thinking about, stuff you've been feeling physically or emotionally, you know, any neighborly noises that are not neighborly or anything at all like that. I'm going to try to take your mind off of those things. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to send my voice here across the deep, dark night, along with my intention, which is to put you to sleep. And the way the podcast kind of works is I offer you an alternative narrative, because I think no matter what's going on with you, and some of it, there's a story behind it. And a lot of times, whatever story you're being told or telling yourself, it's keeping you from falling asleep. And sometimes it feels like it's a little bit out of your control. And this could be a little bit different for everybody, but for me, a lot of times, you know, we talk about, it's like, you know, self-worth stuff or fixating on some tiny thing that happened, like when you tripped over the speed bump, when you tripped over trying to pronounce speed bump and called it a speed bump in front of all the listeners.
and then how that's going to mean no one will listen to your podcast ever again, and how that'll mean this. And maybe you should just stay up thinking about it so you could figure out what's the best way to give up by morning for your mispronunciation of not doing this on purpose. Your mispronunciation of speed bump. But again, when it's not nighttime, sometimes you have an ability to talk sense with these parts of you. But at bedtime, it seems a lot tougher. So instead of trying to engage all that, I'll offer you something else to listen to. And first, I'll start out with this intro, which will take about 10 minutes, and then I'll lead into a story or something. It'll be me doing stuff and talking. I'm going to use lulling, soothing tones, pregnant pauses, nonsensical attempts at idioms, or probably misusing idioms. A bunch of different stuff, whatever the opposite of wordsmithing is. I think word smushing, we've called it before. But you can listen to that and say, hey, brain, hey, let's not try to solve all the problems, man. Let's just listen to the scooter guy and see he's kind of entertaining. Not really entertaining. He's not really, but he's not bad. We'll just listen to him. And maybe we could all snuggle in together instead of arguing tonight. Because I bet you brain parts and you body parts and you feeling parts, you want to get snuggled every once in a while. I know you don't. Or you say you don't. But come on, let's just snuggle and listen to him. And we'll do a little faux respect. Don't worry. We don't have to adopt a new lifestyle of self-respect and esteem building. You don't have to change your ways. Just like he said, it's just a distraction. There's no shoulds. And it's not like he's going to really do anything or go, because he says, hey, just fall asleep whenever you want. We can listen to him, but we don't really have to pay attention. We'll just listen to him and see how it goes. He's got that tone that's so nice and non-judgmental. And I'll take it to another level on tonight's intro a little bit, or a little different approach than I normally do. And because, a lot of times at the end of the show, I say, thanks for stopping by. I really hope I really yearn to help you fall asleep. And I don't always, I don't want to put the spotlight on you, the listener, all the time, because I'm trying to distract you. And I also don't want to take any credit, because this is just kind of like a little bit of a silly, distracting thing I do that ideally works to just help you drift off into sleep, but it's something you could do. You don't have to do. But when I say I yearn, I really mean that, because I say, you see, geez, if you could fall asleep, if this podcast could occasionally help you drift off or get back to sleep, or forget about the deep dark night looming, and then calling into question all sorts of things, and kind of making you feel like it's kind of tearing you apart or whatever illusions is. If I can distract you from that, it'd be I'm not here to accomplish anything major but that distraction. But if by way of that distraction, or if this podcast doesn't work for you, as a way to moving on from this podcast, you find something that helps you fall asleep, that is sacrosanct, whatever. I wish I said this is why I don't go for the deep stuff. But to be honest, you deserve some sleep, You deserve a place to breathe. You deserve a safe place. And if I could just craft it just in a momentary sense here for you, where maybe you could start to find some rest, that you can carry on forward into the day and along with you into the next night, and have some respite, have some solace, just have some distraction. That hope that I can aid that in any small way. That's what's helped carry me. And then hearing that it has. And again, I don't think I'm performing anything. I don't want to overblow my role here. Other than how honored I am and how full of gratitude I am to be able to even attempt this and to explain why I keep at it and why I consider it so important is because you deserve it, you know. And if it's not this podcast, I'm not kidding. I really, really desire and hope you find something else that works for you, you know, or that this podcast can you say, okay, that Scooter worked for me a while, and then I found this next thing, and then I found this next thing. So whether I can distract you just tonight, or I can distract you every night, or I can, you dislike this podcast so much you find something else wonderful that puts you to sleep. I don't know, if you get one message, and I know you can't always get in a good night's sleep, and I know what it's like to feel the desperation of that strange thing. It's something you want to control that you can't, or whatever. I don't know how to put it in the right words for everybody, but that's how it feels to me sometimes. If I can contribute to that in any way at all, or at least to you getting, to fostering that thing within you, that no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the outcome is, it really is the fact that you deserve it, So maybe we could just create some softness around that. And maybe that's part of what the safe place that I'm trying to carve out. And I don't like to overanalyze it or shine the light on you or even on me in this way, but I've just been thinking about it. So this is your first couple of times here. Usually the intros are a little bit more silly and less, I don't know how to describe this, a little bit clunky in my attempts, less meta, or about the method of the podcast, or whatever I'm trying to say, and getting a little vulnerable here, so I feel a little bit exposed. So then I get, but I shouldn't. I should feel soft too. I guess I'm allowed to feel vulnerable, and I'm allowed to feel something for what I'm trying to do here. I guess I shouldn't be scared, but I guess we're human. What can we say? It's a scary thing, even any of this kind of stuff too. So I don't want you to put any messages on you, or any to-dos or anything, or even that you have to feel anything about it in any certain way. But maybe you just take a breath, and maybe you don't even have to decide that you deserve a good night's sleep. Maybe you could just start to wonder about it, That's how a lot of stuff starts for me. So maybe let's leave open that question, a conversation you could have with yourself in the light of day. But you know what? I already believe it. And that's what's driving me here. So as I always do say at the end of the show, I'm glad you're here. And I really hope, and maybe now you got a better idea of why really you're in, because I think you really deserve to get a good night's sleep, whether it's through this podcast or something else. So thanks for stopping by.
All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Dave's Killer Bread. And breadheads, fasten your taste buds. I got to say, this is a sponsor I'm incredibly excited to be working with, because I've been eating this bread for years. I absolutely love it. So it's time to set the stage for an amazing year with Dave's Killer Bread, as we launch the inaugural Rock Your Reset from Dave's Killer Bread. So get those taste buds ready, because it's time to rock your reset with killer whole grain nutrition and prizes that could rock your whole year. Throughout January, Dave's Killer Bread will be delivering weekly epic prompt text alerts to their SMS subscribers, plus new signups who opt in through the sweepstakes offer. Text RESET to 73876. Enter for a chance to win 3 VIP concert prize packs, including a luxury hotel stay, concert tickets for 2, VIP merch, pre-concert dining experience, and full transportation. No purchase necessary. Visit daveskillerbread.com/reset for details. And this bread is absolutely delicious. It's power-packed with whole grains, fiber, proteins, killer taste and texture. But it's organic bread that actually tastes good. So you got to get in on this Rock Your Reset. Visit daveskillerbread.com/reset for details. There's no purchase necessary. Visit daveskillerbread.com/reset for details. Thanks, everybody. Sleep With Me is supported by Soundcore from Anchor in their new Soundcore Sleep A20 earbuds, which block noise for a quieter sleep. I've been using them for a few weeks now, including traveling over the holiday season, and I can confidently say they've made a huge difference for me. These earbuds aren't just for you. The Soundcore A20 sleep buds have a built-in alarm clock to wake you without disturbing a partner. Or they're even better, if your partner doesn't like listening to Sleep With Me, you got to get these earbuds. They're comfortable, and they allow you to listen to Sleep With Me without, your partner having to listen to it. Get the sleep you deserve with Soundcore A20 at soundcore.com. That's SOUNDCORE.com. Use code SLEEP at checkout to get $30 off. SLEEP in all caps. Tonight, every night, grab your pair and sleep away. Hey, everybody, how you doing? It's Sunday. Let's see what the date is here. So hopefully my ringer's off. Sunday, 31st. It's the last day of January. You'll probably be hearing this around the second week of February, I think. So hello from the past, I'm straight out of 3/1/16. I'm like a time capsule. But it's good to see you. We're going to do a trending Twitter Tuesday here. So I'm going to try to get a tweet bot going. All right. So here we are. I got it going. I'm going to take I'm taking a picture. I took the top trends in Canada, actually, to celebrate all the lovely Canadian listeners that are listening. And just so I'm totally confused by a few things. So that'll be great. Let me switch over to the picture app here. But I was thinking, since there's some new people here, and because Lori wrote this nice article about animals and audio and the podcast, it was all tied together. My lovely dog Koa, it's Koa, Koa, she was in it. I don't think this is related, but I want to kind of fill you in about my dog and some new developments, strange developments. So Koa comes, she's the subject of the podcast every once in a while. Because she's my best friend, let's be honest. You go, well, I guess I'm going to sound weird. I thought Scoot was weird, but yeah, then he started talking about him and his dog. I said, is it weird? It can weird and pity have a crossover. Yeah, important things if you're new to the podcast to know about Ko. One, great dog. She's great. Two, and if any of this is bothering you because you're a veterinarian or an expert, it's fiction, okay? Just in case it bothers you. But the next thing you should know about Koa, and this is strange for a dog, she loves broccoli. Now, I don't overfeed her broccoli, but she loves broccoli. Like some dogs would love some sort of meat-based thing. And I'm sure Koa would go for meat, but she just loves broccoli. And even, she loves it. It's that simple. No need to over-explain it, even in a lulling, soothing way. And then the next thing you should know is that me and Koa have this hobby. And a lot of people think it's like a code, or they find it confusing. And I can understand where the confusion lies, because you might be more degrees of sane than I am. Or, you have pastimes. And, whatever. But me and Koa have a hobby. And maybe some of you are writing this down. Okay, man has his hobbies with his dog. Question, and then you're pulling out your DSVM4 or your DSVM5. 4, by the way. That's the good one. You say, me and Koa have a hobby. And I'll try to put it to you. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it but I guess it's hard to explain. It's like we listen to Knox, Koncks. Now I have a second tertiary, knock-related hobby. Koa's not involved in that one, except that she looks at me shamefully. But which I'll get to, and that's not a code either. But so we listen to Knox. Now, You say, okay, like, you fill me in more. Okay. You know, they say there's I think it was P.T. Barnum. Oh, no, it was Danny Barnum, the one that wasn't famous. Danny Barnum, unfortunately, once said, there's a pastime for everyone. And I think he was big on this niche idea. And me and Co just happen to have a niche pastime. We listen to knocks. Now, we don't wait for someone to knock at the door, because if someone's knocking at my door, you know, one, I'm going to have to go through some sort of anxiety to, should I answer? What do they want? Co, did you bark or did you wag your tail? But no, we listen, and other people around the world, a few, or well, maybe, you know, other people around the world, listen, they're recorded knocks. So the recordings of knocks on location. And I said, as I've talked about, there is a synthetic, you know, you can listen to studio knocks, or, you know, even, I forget, because I'm not big into them. It changes, kind of like fake knocks, like electronically designed knocks that aren't real. That aren't the result of a hand knocking on a door. Now, studio knocks are the good ones. And I think the biggest studio is actually in Quebec, and it's called La Voix TVA. And I think it's like LAVOXIX TVA. And I don't know if they're a post-production studio or what. But that's where, you know, those are the most expensive knocks. And you could, like any craft, and I don't know, like, if they're doing it, like, for sound effects for movies, but they also say, well, here's a secondary income stream, selling it to this guy. And I'd say, and you might say, well, Scooter's getting played as a fool. No. If you're a knock enthusiast and you listen to these knocks and you know that they're taking the time, you know, to buy the doors, have different people with different hand densities, different knock styles. They have the great, you know, whatever the things they walk in to make movie walking sounds, Foley effects. So those are good knocks. Now, of course, I prefer on-location knocks, preferably from somewhere I haven't been or I've been, you know, somewhere exotic, somewhere moody, you know, so we can create an atmosphere. And so it can kind of trigger, you know, we say, okay, you know, as I said, the best knocks, my best knock experiences have been, and now this doesn't even exist anymore. That's what makes it even more powerful, is Eastern European knocks, which goes into my next hobby. But so hang a lantern on Eastern European knocks, and Eastern European knocks too. Brezhnev's something. I don't have it. That's a working title. But you know, so the idea that these are these Cold War knocks behind the Berlin Wall, recorded in the fall and the winter, is just something for me magical about listening to them. And they were well done. And you still might be confused, you know, obviously if everybody was, even if you've listened and you tried to comprehend it before, you still may be confused. But yeah, so this will be a Saturday night. Here's a usual Saturday night for Scoots. You know, cover your ears if you have any delusions about my lifestyle, but maybe eat, at some point record a show. Either before I record or after, watch part of Metastasis or Breaking Bad or an entire episode. And then I take the old podcaster's cap off, which we do with headphones in this case, and I say, okay, it's time to put the pen away, it's time to unwind. I got to take care of myself so I can keep doing this show, right? You know, it's time for a little Scoots time for Scoots, you know, as they say. So that's when I say, hey, Co, what are you doing? She looks at me and I cue up some knocks. Now, I'm having a little trouble deciding on my current way of getting the knocks broadcast. But it's just a matter of personal preference and stuff, like Bluetooth. I've been trying to figure out, like using this older thing with a Bluetooth thing that I have adapter. But unfortunately, a remote control doesn't switch. For some reason, I don't know who invented this old thing that I use, but a remote control won't move the settings to the line in. So it just involves one extra step, but it's some reason that irritates me. But it's not a bad way to go into Knox. So then I say, okay, cool, I'm going to fire up some Knox. Now, you might say if you're an anthropologist type person or a curious person, I mean, there's many roads to go down about this hobby, but one might be about the nature of Knox. Maybe that'll be get anybody from Gingerbread Press working, write that down and trademark that title. The nature of Knox, a treaty. How do you say it? It looks like treaty, but it's treaty. It's got an S in there. A treaty on something about Knox. The nature of Knox. But what's interesting is when we talk about piracy and digital distribution, and the people might say, well, there's no good sides to torrents and downloads and, ones and zeros. And I can see that it's caused a lot of disruption in the entertainment business. But as someone from that was buying black market Knox for the past long time, it's unlocked an ease to this hobby. And it's actually now been able to make, for real lovers of Knox, we want it to be sustainable. So it's obviously, if you're going to be recording Knox in, say, the beaches of Rio de Janeiro, or something, I want to make sure you can do that, at a fair price. So now it's so easy. Now, and of course it wasn't really a crash because it was very hard to get paid anyway. And a lot of it was like trading tapes. You'd say, well, geez, would you believe it? When I first got into it, it was so hard because I just lived in Syracuse, New York. And it was just hard to get a hold of people and then be like, okay, you have Boston waterfront Knox. How about some Syracuse snowfall Knox? I even tried to market it like that. And they said, you got anything else? Like anything from Buffalo or Poughkeepsie or anything? They said, we'll take some like New Rochelle Knox. And I said, well, Syracuse is a great town. I love this 315. But as far as getting Knox, it was a lot tougher back then because then you'd have to mail, first tapes and then CDs. So I just think I'd love to hear like an anthropologist take on like how digital distribution has enabled hobbies, the power of that for me because these Eastern European Knox, I keep them in multiple locations now, uncompressed audio, of course. So it's just one thing I was curious about talking about. And then again, you might say, okay, so set it up for us. You Saturday night, you queue up the Knox, and that's it. We listen to the Knox. Usually we'll make eye contact, but if we're not making, if Koa doesn't make eye contact, that's eye contact in of its own, And Koa usually communicates through nonverbal cues, but she's been known to verbalize, and make a groaning or even a whimpering. And then I'll, and I guess maybe this is why I tell boring stories, because every Knock has a story. Okay, that's another one. And then I get into the other hobby I have briefly, because I'm working on, and that's not going to be under Gingerbread Press. Obviously, I'll have to come up with another pseudonym for that, but that's the Knox. It's not a code word. It's just we sit around, we listen to Knox. And then I kind of imagine, but it's more of it's tough to explain because it can have such joy or sadness or sorrow. Would you believe the complexity of Knox? You could tell the difference between sadness and sorrow, which I'm incapable of doing internally. So, and maybe that's an appeal of it, an externalization of my emotional state, being played out there. And, you might re-listen to one And if you really start to listen, you might say, okay, why aren't you doing it over headphones? And I said, well, that would really be sad and lonely, wouldn't it? If I was just sitting around on a Saturday night listening to Knox on headphones. But because I'm listening to it with Koa, and then every once in a while the neighbors would say, knock it off. And they don't even realize they're making a pun. And then me and Koa, oh my goodness, it's crazy. And that happens so that's like 5 times, every Saturday. But so it's tough to explain. And I'm not trying to convert anybody. Obviously, I don't want an influx of, I want you to find your own way. Some people like opening an old comic and the smell of it. I like that too. And seeing the old ads. And, looking at all this stuff, the extra stuff, the letters to the editor and all that. This is just like that, just different, tough to appreciate. And I can hear you thinking again. You say, okay, set it up for me again. Wait, so you and your dog sit around and you listen to Knox. And I say, you're really paying attention. You really got that down. Exactly, yeah. And I say, I guess you might say, well, if it's a new batch of Knox, I might, take notes. I have fantasized that, there would be a small growth in the Knox community, particularly, models or beautiful Trader Joe's workers. And then we would have little Knox games. Oh, little Knox games. That's another good title. And they'd send me Knox, or friends, maybe just regular, friends that aren't supermodels, and they'd say, we'd just do, fool the Knox listener. I don't know what we'd call it, because since I just, and Koa can't play any of that because she's just a dog, But, you'd play it, you'd say, okay, I detected a fist slide on the, when the fist slid, I would, who I'd love to listen to Knox. I can't imagine listening to it with Sherlock Holmes or Hercule Poirot. Somebody taught me how to pronounce it and I forgot. Or any of those great deductive minds. That would be, holy moly, or Tyrion Lannister. He'd be good at listening to Knox. Miss Marple. I've never read any Miss Marple, but I would love to say, Miss Marple, what did you think of that? And then she, have her pause as the tea lifts to her lips. And, she's displayed again. And I say, yes, ma'am. It brings me unending joy. And it's kind of like with Koa, but she's not human. I watch her to see, because a dog, it has a different sensitivity so I can watch her to feel what her animal level perceptions in the Knox are. And I'd say that Marple and Poirot, and Sherlock Holmes, any of the great deductive minds, they might just sit there. I bet you they could really embarrass me. And I'd say, well, I detect some salt water. What do you, and they say, salt water, that's a desert knot, clearly. And then I'd say, well, that's the distinctive rapping of a young lith, and they say, it's a sailor's knock. You could hear you could even hear the peg leg, and they say, even Koa would say, rah. So maybe I don't want any of those, know-it-alls, but it would still be fun, I think. And then, then I could impress people later once I bring in the people I have crushes on. And Joe, I've done that too. I said, well, what else do you do for fun? They say, okay, don't tell them about the Knox scoot. Whatever you do, don't bring up the Knox. I say, what is it? We could kick back and listen to some stuff. Oh, some music? That'd be great. And then usually it's just a mistake. She says, is that some knocking? And I say, oh, yeah, can't you hear me knocking? That's like my favorite Stones song, actually. Ironically enough, it is, I think. So that's kind of, I think I covered all the bases there on the knocking, except for the, reasonable ones, which is, but it's tough to explain, why do you like, why is anyone, and maybe that's where you some of your curiosity, well, when did this start, or what? And I said, well, I was going to talk about my dog, but I guess this is kind of where we've been going. Because I don't remember when it started, to be honest with you. Like, I think probably what happened was I watched so much TV as a child. Like, I know they've been talking about, like, they're bringing all these musicals back right on TV and doing them live. And I remember watching musicals on the musical movies. Like, now they're doing the Grease live, right? And I remember watching Grease, and was Popeye a musical, the Popeye movie? I don't know if that was a musical. But so, I don't know. I watched a lot of TV. I don't know if that had something to do with it. Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I guess is that a fruitful search? Why does a man like listening to Knox? And okay, I can hear you still. You say, okay, you're serious. Your hobby is listening to recorded knocks with your dog. And I say that's a simple way of putting it. I say it's so much more than that. Like if you were to say to like some like person that rode across the English Channel, you say your hobby is sitting in a rowboat, and they would, probably say no. Or, if you pulled an NHL All-Star off the ice and you said, okay, so your hobby is ice skating, they might be, they might say, yes, it is part of my hobby. And you say, actually, no, I get paid hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars a year to do this. But maybe you talk to somebody that, dreams at the NHL All-Star game. You could say, is your hobby pounding on glass? And they say, no, it's the NHL All-Star game. I'm just excited, about this Jaromir Jagr. He's the best. And they say, yeah, he is the best for sure. And maybe you want me to, like, walk you through, like, a night of knocks, They say, okay, well, see, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, I guess that maybe that's a welcome. Maybe let's just do a little role play. A little knock role play, which is weird because I guess my other thing, maybe this is too early to introduce it, but is writing erotic knock fiction. And I guess that's a different pastime, another pursuit. And that's why I was saying Eastern European knocks. That was the one I've been working on for a while. And you might say, okay, whoa. Okay, can you still explain the knocks? But wait, so you write an erotic knock fiction? Yeah, well, I guess that's maybe, you're right. Maybe I should refocus. I write erotic fiction in a knock-based genre, with not targeted at just knock enthusiasts. But using the knocks as a major plot device, maybe. I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to explain it. Like your Eastern, it's pretty standard. It's just like Eastern European knocks is about. Well, I can't because I can't review. It's possibly it's a sellable piece of material. I guess it could walk you through some of the plot lines I rejected, which was one, and this was a tough one because I probably wrote, it's about plot lines based on spies. Because I said, well, that might be tropey, and then you may again part of your brain is trying to say, whoa, wait a second, whoa. Okay, you really listen to knocks as a hobby. Two, this other stuff, really, you're serious. 3, if A, this could be a SAT question. If A and B are true, tropey ? And then some emoji where the emojis, brains melting. So, but yeah, so spies, as I said, the plot-wise, I said, okay, so let me see here, Eastern European. I mean, that was like a title that wrote itself, Eastern European knocks. Because I like to have knocks in the title. Like, if you listen to the other episode where I talked about it, I was working on Hollywood Knocks. And then I had Hollywood Knocks 2. I forgot what it was called because it was, the manuscript was lost. But it was like Knocks, red carpet, something red carpet, Knocks, maybe. Hollywood Knocks 2, knocking the red carpet, maybe. I can't remember. Because they say, well, but the Eastern European access, like, okay, spy, Cold War, my favorite character to fall in love with, Helena Konstantinopoulovna. She could be, should we do noir or, do the reverse, like the sunny side of the, but and that was another musical totally unrelated to any of this I wrote, Sunny Side of the Berlin Wall. I guess I have a fixation on the Cold War and the Berlin Wall. And I was even trying to tell my daughter about the Cold War, and she looked at me like Koa does sometimes with the knocks. And I said, you'll never know what the, Cold War is. And I said, okay, anyway. I tried to avoid any stereotypes about Eastern Europe or, and they say, wait, okay. So I can see you're probably throwing up your hands at this point. But I'm taking pre-orders for Eastern European knocks too, Brezhnev's. And they said, well, that's not Eastern European. I said, well, yeah, that, that'll force me creatively to work, once I find out who, I know the last name. I think it's the first name's like Leonid. I'll work on that. That'll be more of a political caper. Where this is more, it's discover pre-order. I'm taking pre-orders, one day. But that's my secondary hobby. But I guess like if I was to take you under my wing as a knock listener, you say, okay, let's just stick with the first thing, Scoots, because the second thing that's just, makes me, and I say, okay, I try to just put my private business out there. But I keep it private. I think I succeeded in that. Don't you agree? But I think, like, I don't know if I was to sit listening to knocks with another person. The first question would be like, how do we sit? Because we can't. If we sit face to face, it might be uncomfortable. Or if we sit side to side, we can't watch each other. Like I can't watch. We'd have to have a friendship to the degree where I could watch your face. But without it being awkward or like whatever you call it when you're thinking about being observed. Because the dog doesn't mind being. I mean, Nicole watches me probably 80% of the day. Like she's like, are you about to get some broccoli? And they say, no, you just ate broccoli. Oh, you're gonna get some broccoli? Great. Are you gonna get up and get it now, or taking me out for a walk? They say, no, we're about to listen to some knocks. We have a guest here. And me and the guest are trying to, oh, okay, so you're getting the broccoli. And I say, okay, that's why I don't start talking to you. I just observe you too. If you see, I'm sitting on the couch, I'm facing the audio stuff, and then Ko is here to my left. If you're sitting on the couch to my right, I can't observe you. But so, yeah, why don't your first round of knocks, you just sit next to me. And you can kind of watch Ko. And I guess the best thing is just to kick back, maybe lean back. We could keep the lights on or keep them low. And a good thing is just to start listening and just like this podcast, let the knocks come in. I won't actually be playing any knocks tonight. This is just imaginary. I say just like you're a knock. I say, no. But you just lie back and you listen to the knocks and you try to, maybe your first round, you listen to them and just see what grasps you. Is there something about the staccato versus, there's something about the pattern? Is there something about the rapping, about what hand is being used? Is it something about the sound? Is there an echo? Do you picture someone like, would you picture, you hear a certain knock, you picture Draymond Green knocking? I mean, talk about it. That would be great. Because even when he frowns, he seems to be smiling. So it'd be like you open the door to Draymond, and he would have probably a pretty good knock because he's got a great personality. But you just kick back and you listen. And that might be your first session, you say, and that wouldn't overwhelm you. You say, okay, let's listen to 5 or 6 knocks. And you say, you want to go through them again? Do you want me to set you up? Maybe you're into research. You say, the Viennese knocks, let's say we scored some good Viennese knocks. I mean, maybe this could be something. We could do a night, we could have Viennese cuisine. I mean, I know that Taster's Choice has a Viennese coffee, but I think that's a load of baloney probably. More other questions. Other questions might be, do you want to design your own shorthand? Are you just taking the impressions in and then taking? Do you like to sit in like a salon style, and we could discuss the knocks, cross our knees. Are you more of an inquisitor? And you say, like you're detectives. Are you like a knock detective? Or do you want to come up with a system? Like, are you very organized? And this is the great thing about hobbies, especially something open-ended. Like that's what we say. Why would Scoots, why on any green earth would this guy sit around listening? And they say, isn't it making itself apparent as we talk about it? I guess maybe this is the genesis. There's no wrong way to listen to knocks. And if someone tells you that, say, well, you could take your knocks elsewhere, buddy. Like, I'm going to listen to mine. And my friend here, they can listen in their own way. They can have their own knock response. Or maybe we could study Morse code. But I was going to say, if you're really organized, you might want to come up with like a category, like a way of listening to the knocks. And then I think those, when the letters stand for stuff, let's do one. I'll say everything starts with a hashtag now, and then we'll do TLMEP. So just write that down on your pad. And you say the pound is the hashtag's the knock, that's similar. Hashtag is like a little bit like a knock, And this was a while back when I tried, I was trying to get my whole life organized. I said, let me start with the knock. So this was actually the scale I used. Well, I want it to be open, TLMEP. So you could say the T. You could create your own word for what the T stands for, but you were listening, and maybe the first run through, you're listening for the T factor. And that might be tone or tangential. I don't think tangential fits. For me, it was tone. So I would listen for the tone, and you say, well, what does that mean? I said, well, it's open, man. So you say, is it the tone of the door? Is it the tone of the knock? Is it the tone of the strike against the door? Do you get to the point where you can detect the tone of the material between, is the door painted? Is it a glossy paint? Is it an enamel paint? Is it matte? Is it does it absorb? Is it like a tone of a misknock because there's some sort of, garland on the door? Or the person maybe is under the influence. So you say tone, and then L, you could go with length, which could mean a lot. You could go with, I don't know what other L words would fit if you wanted to plug in your own. I mean, you could use some descriptors with L's, but length, is it a long, are they knocking for a long time or a short time? Is it a rap? Is it a rap? And believe me, you might say, no. If you got follow through, and pull back versus follow through and just sustained contact. Those are different length knocks, in my opinion. And then you get into some fancier words for me. You go M, magnitude. that's what I like to use. But you could use your own word. You could use, and so I say, let's stick with magnitude. Now, magnitude is like kind of like the intensity of the knock. Since it is a strike, it's quake-like. And even Co and I, we every once in a while, we did go through a streak, and then those jokes wore thin, where I was rating the knocks on it. And then I said Richter scale, probably like 1,000 times too many. I think because I guess maybe I lost my tone, like my magnitude meter. So I say that's a 7.0 on the Richter scale. And then I was saying the Richter scale for Ricky Schroeder. But then even Koa stopped getting, she's like, that even dogs didn't get that pop culture reference. I was like, you don't even know who the Ricker is? So you want to pay attention to your tone, your length, your magnitude, your E. Now you might say, this is where we get into the gray area, the wonderful gray areas of knocking. E, expression. What other expression can you detect in the knock? And you could also, you can use expression and energy, because sometimes they say, okay, you're right, because there's magnitude and the energy could be different, especially when you really get into this deep, So you say expression energy or expression and energy. And I think that's kind of self-apparent. Like is it you're taking these other, and this is a cumulative thing. You're saying you're using those first three, and then it's kind of giving you a little bit more. This might be our fourth listen. You say, okay, I do hear some expression or some energy in there. And then you get into P, and this is when you're really digging. You say person, or I guess, I don't know. I guess that's what I always say. Okay, because you got to remember, in part of really descending into the world of knock loving is that there's a person on either side of this exchange normally. Now, not always, so that's another thing to keep in mind when you're trying to, and I guess the therapist I see, when I told him all this, he said, and you can't, he said, you still don't know, he goes, because I explained this all to him, it cost me probably, who knows how much money, because it took, multiple sessions. But he said, and you still don't think you can feel any empathy or compassion. You don't know what that means. And I said, well, this is imaginary, Doc, because the person you really want to put yourself, you could put yourself anywhere. You could be a narrator, third person, first person. But the person you're trying to imagine everything about them that you can. Like I said, Draymond Green is a great example. And for anybody that doesn't know, he's this wonderful basketball player for the Golden State Warriors. Great personality, great player, great effort, love of the game. Dare I say, gregarious. And you could just substitute any gregarious figure knocking on a door. Now, that's a person that cuts a certain style, And so then you could start to make inferences about their body. And if you kind of follow it through, you're like, okay, this person's not feeling gregarious. This is a gregarious person, but their knock is not. And, maybe some people want to start making up, maybe all these passcodes. You say, no, let's just start knock codes. Don't get rid of your ATM and your social security number. Because all the variables in knocking are also almost endless. Okay, so let's play it one step further, and let's imagine we're in London, okay? And I'm going to give you some extra material in order to enrich you, since this is your first round of knocking, and you're not actually going to hear any knocks. I want you to start to picture the richness as it might unfold. So we're listening to a knock. And it's a patter, patter, pitter, 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 patter, pitter, patter, boom, boom, bam. And you say, could you say that again? Excuse me, I said pitter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter, 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 boom, boom, bam. I think. And you say, okay, tone. Okay, well, that was a wide tone there. And you say, okay, I don't know. Let's listen to it again, because I'm saying this tone sounds excited, but you say, yeah, it's a lot in there. There's a bunch of different, almost like stanzas of knocks. You say, yeah, is this iambic noctameter? And you say, no, this just seems like an instant expression. Right. And they say, why do they have lie detector tests? Like, you just have someone knock on a door, you're going to be able to tell. That's why I think these detectives need to get involved. Just for the joy of detecting, they could say, ooh, and I have my, and now I know, the garden is a place, whatever they say at the end. The rose petals undid you, ma'am. It really is your knock, but it's more witty if it's the rose petals that undid you. Okay, so then we go right from tone to length, and we say, okay, there was a lot, even within the different pitter-patter, boom, boom, bang. Like, those are all different lengths and overall length. I said, okay, this is a long length, but between the tone and the length, it doesn't sound like it's like a questioning knock, like, is anyone home? And it's not necessarily, and it doesn't feel like an aggressive knock. And you see, there's some excitement in there, but we can't tell. Like, okay, let's move on to our next knock qualifier. Pitter patter, boom, boom, bam. And you say, okay, magnitude. Okay, magnitude kind of goes, but oh wait, yeah, we can. Let's listen, pitter patter, like a pitter patter. Those magnitudes. You say, okay, wait a second. Is that person, not only are they rapping, I think they may be turning their knuckle on each strike. They're rolling left part of their knuckle, right part. And I say, wow, you're catching on fast. And they're using their front, the front of their hand, those knuckles. I don't know what they're called. The second round of knuckles. And not the fist-based knuckles. And and I like how I use that word rapping. That's a good knock word. And yeah, they're going side to side, pitter patter, full palm, I think. Okay, so that's, okay, wait a second. Let's replay that again on the last magnitude scale. You're right. I think that was a palm impact. Right. And I'm detecting that I think I'm picking up like something more than the palm. And I'm pretty sure it's an Apple Watch band or some sort of band. I'm thinking that it might be. And then, okay, so let's move on next. Okay, we're gathering more here. Energy. Now, if we take the things we know now and the fact that we maybe suspect that they're rolling their thing as they're knocking, and then we're considering that as we're playing the energy, pitter patter. Oh, well, I'd say we could at least infer that this is a playful energy and an excited energy, possibly. I say, okay, I say. And so we start to say the person, and we say, okay, well, let me start to listen to it again. Pitter patter. Those are light pitter patter. So it does sound like it does sound like a smaller hand, but not a children's hand. So maybe a young woman's hand or a smaller man's hand. And I say, okay. And they say, okay, well, how do you know it's not a child? And I say, well, and this is where experience comes in. I say, well, usually the door, will have a less, I guess if we go to the magnitude and the tone, the lower on the door will usually have a little bit of a different tone. But also it's just something, it does feel advanced. Pitter patter. Oh, like a child, maybe it would be a song at best, but this feels like, oh, wait a second. Holy moly. You might be onto something. There is something songwriting about this knock. Pitter patter. Oh, wow. Holy, I think we may have just unlocked the knock. Because as I said, this knock came to me from London, and there was a picture of a door, which, because I knew I was going to use this as an example. But I think we can, if I tell you a little bit more about what we know, if we go back to the tone and the magnitude and even the length, you see the door feels like it's a nice wooden door, solid core, I would say, but with a good coat of paint on it. And I actually know for factually that the door is red. And I say, okay, let's return to this person. So they say there is a songy aspect to this, like a chorus, pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Well, maybe not a simple chorus. So this could be, is this a poet's knock? I would say, what's a little fast? They say this is like a poppy knock. I'm not, so then we go down deeper. We say, okay, this is a tight chorus pop knock, I would say. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter, So it's there's something to it. And then we can guess, and again, this is this is what it's like with the higher level knock expert. It's an Apple Watch. I'm almost positive of that. The band, just because they did get my hands on some watch, I went through a phase. So it's a young, I think it's young because this excitability would be someone feeling young or young, but not a child, probably a young woman. It's London, a red, expensive door, wearing probably an expensive watch, and the ability to craft a pop chorus or a hook. I would say this is not, this hook, pitter patter, pitter patter, that's hooky, in a good way. So, are you with me? Now we're in London. Now let's take one more step. Okay, and for again, the excitement, to take it all. We're going to take all of our range now. You're going to take your tone. The tone is excited, anticipatory probably, rushed but not urgent, I would guess. The length is long to send a message of excitement, probably to convey something, or the internal part of the knocker conveying something that they're not even aware of or that they can't contain. And I would say that's probably it. That's probably solid. There's something they're overflowing with some sort of excited, and I'd say a positive excited energy. The magnitude underlines our previous assumptions about the excitement. It tells us a little bit about the door, and then between the magnitude and the energy and whatever the other E was, we can start to say, okay, this is way more complex than we initially thought. And we start to think of a young pop crafter. Now, this isn't someone that just sings songs, but they also craft songs. They're wearing a stylish watch. Maybe it's like some sort of, but they're into that. And they're excited. They're in London at an expensive door. And I think you probably figured it out by now. It's like, okay, who could this be? There's very few people, young women, because obviously I'm not, like, it wouldn't be as fun, especially to use it to try to entice you into knock enthusiasm if it wasn't someone famous, of course. But I didn't want to lead with that. I wanted to guide you into this. So it's a famous young woman, we assume. She's somewhere where she's excited and overflowing with anticipation. So it's either an aspect of the situation or her feelings about the situation or her personality or all those things. She's such a crafter of hooks or song hooks that she can't even hide that from a person like me, that even her knocks have a perfectly contained, you could just start writing a song from that. Pitter patter, boom, boom, bomb. And you say, she's in London. Okay. She's going to something. Okay. She's going to see someone clearly. And if she's that like if we're starting to infer she's famous and successful, most people would come and see her. And she's wearing an Apple Watch. Maybe does that make her more American? I don't know. In this case, it does, as I'm leading you to the answer, in a way that you could discover it or, explain it to you. And you say, and this is where are you making assumptions or guessing? And they say, well, this is all, I'm feeling it. And I say, oh boy, I'm feeling like I'm with her. And then that's when he said, this is what empathy, and they said, well, no, this is fictional empathy then. Because I'm there, I'm her, I'm feeling the excitement. And then maybe I'm on the other side of the door feeling, but then I'm like, wait a second, this isn't the excitement of pure romance. There's something else to this. Pitter patter, boom, boom, that last palm. That's a palm. It's a push away. You're right. I didn't see that till just now. So it's excited, playful. Answer the door. But this is my space too. And you say, oh, so this is not a romantic knock. It's a former something, maybe previous lovers meeting, or there's a heartbreak there, maybe. And now you're knowing, you say London, knocking, expensive, and you say Taylor, and they say, wasn't it just Harry Styles' birthday? And you say, of course, it's Taylor Swift going to wish happy birthday to Harry Styles. And it's like filled with all that extra thing. And all that was just in a knock. You say Taylor Swift is going to see Harry Styles. Maybe not in just as a friend, I think. Or maybe not, or maybe she doesn't know because she's on the journey. Oh, I'm so excited to pitter patter. Boom, boom. Nah. I think, and I say, well, yeah, I listen to the knocks, I don't write the songs the lovebirds sing. I listen to the knocks, the songstress's knock. So I don't know I don't think I have to explain it, but then that's why I listen to knocks. It's that simple. Pitter patter, boom, boom, boom. And that's why I love listening to knocks. Thank you, Taylor Swift and Harry Styles. Thank you for that lovely door. It was a doorway to my favorite hobby, my dog's favorite hobby. And I guess you're peering into my soul in some strange way. Good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here, tucking you in. I don't know if you listen, we've been running testimonials from people that support the show directly versus me kind of trying to, I don't know, I don't feel like I have to convince you, right, to support the show. It's just like getting the message through. But I had to do something different because it's just wasn't working. What I was doing wasn't working, so it's time to change it up. So hopefully you listen to those. I'm just going to run through some of the bonus content we've got on Sleep With Me Plus lately. We had, like a Fearless Flyer from the holidays of 2024, a holiday parade, a Disney parade, a Posty Super Deluxe episode. He's getting ready to kick off his new series in 2025. We're reading through the book, Frankie and Victor, another Fearless Flyer. I'm pretty sure there's, it must not have the right, there's also like on location episodes. I know I'm editing one right now that'll come out this month, where, I take the Skyliner in Disney World. That part's in, binaural audio. And then I walk around the Art Animation Resort. We've also had like balcony episodes. Oh, Drew reads news. That came out this summer. So yeah, check it out. I appreciate it. And if you ever need to get a hold of me, use the contact form on our website. I'm always here to check in with you. But yeah, I really appreciate you listening. And yeah, the best ways to support the show is on Sleep With Me Plus, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Support our sponsors or spread the word about the show or spread the word about podcasting in general or support something else that brings you value. If you say, nah, I'm not going to support Sleep With Me. What else do you, podcasts or YouTube or artists do you enjoy? Support one of them. Thanks and good night.